Hi, my name is Ginny. The day I was born, there was someone who cried more than me. My dad. Not because he was emotional, but because he was in pain. In the labor room right before my birth, Mom went ballistic on him. "It's all because of you. You did this to me, jerk." She literally pulled out chunks of his hair, and he ended up in tears. My parents just didn't get along at all. Once when I was 3, Mom threw a frying pan at Dad because he bought her a PlayStation instead of a makeup kit on her birthday.
You crazy woman! Are you out of your mind?
I must be, for marrying a dumbhead like you. When I was 5, I was really excited for my first day of school, but they even ruined that by fighting over who'd drop me off. So I just grabbed my bag and took the bus. School was my happy place. My teachers liked me, I had friends, and best of all, it was drama-free. That is, till I made the terrible mistake of inviting my parents. In the 9th grade, they came to see me as the lead in the school play, but right in the middle of a scene, I started hearing voices from the crowd, and to my horror, I realized it was my parents. "Can you stop biting your nails? It's such a disgusting habit."
Can you stop chewing gum like a cow? It's giving me a migraine.
Did you just call me a cow?
No, I said you chew like one.
And before I knew it, Mom and Dad attacked. Everyone was laughing. I ran off the stage to break them up, and then the guards threw them out of the auditorium. I can't believe you guys just did that at my school. What's wrong with you?
Ginny, I'm so sorry your mom's a cow.
Oh my God, did you really just... Stop it! I can't deal with this! I stormed out of the house and kept walking, but soon I realized I was far away from home, without a phone. Suddenly, a weird-looking man stepped out of an alley and grabbed my wrist.
Oh, my daughter, I've missed you. Let's go home. Mommy's waiting.
What? You're crazy. Let me go. Just then, a guy came out of nowhere and pushed him aside. He took my hand and we ran like crazy. Once we were a few blocks away, he turned to me.
Hey, you okay? Why are you alone in this neighborhood at night?
I told him I'd just gotten lost and he walked me back home. I was about to ask his name, but he just turned around and left. The next day at school, all anyone could talk about was my parents' meltdown, and I was a laughing stock. At lunch, I was trying to ignore everyone's comments when I accidentally ran straight into someone. It was Brittany, a new girl who'd joined our class recently. OMG, you idiot. Do you know how difficult it is to get stains out of a pure silk Prada dress? I'm sorry, but it was an accident. I guess I should feel sorry for you, because you come from a family of morons. But I don't. She grabbed a glass of juice to throw it at me, but instead, she threw it at herself. Then she burst into tears and ran off. What just happened? As I walked out of the cafeteria, I saw her crying on a boy's shoulder. When our eyes met, I realized it was the boy from last night. He walked over to me, looking mad.
Hey, why are you bullying my sister?
Sister? Me? I don't know what she told you, but she...
Just stay away from her, okay?
With that, he walked away with his arm around Brittany, who looked back to grin at me. What a psycho! A few days later in the library, I was reaching out for a book on the top shelf when I lost my balance, and someone caught me just in time. Oh gosh, thank you. What's your name?
Paul. How long are you planning to stay in my arms?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thanks.
You're not welcome, and I came here for some peace. So can you stop talking to me now?
Gosh, how rude. A few minutes later, I couldn't hold it in any longer. So I just asked him, "You don't even remember me?"
Of course I remember you. I thought you looked really pretty that night.
And what about right now? He came closer, and my heart was racing.
Well, now I think you're kinda ugly, because now I know you're not a nice person.
Seriously? You'd have to be really dumb to not notice that your sister's a spoiled, mean brat. I pushed past him and stormed off. I just had to stay away from this jerk brother-sister pair. A few days later, our teacher announced a campfire trip. But when I got home, all my excitement went down the drain. You don't need to go on trips. Just focus on your studies. You don't want to end up like your dad.
Why not? I'm handsome, smart, and well off. And you can't even pay your pedicure bills. Here, honey, I'll sign your permission slip.
This was one of the few times their fighting worked for me. On the day of the trip, Paul came and sat next to me on the bus.
Hey, I just wanted to.
Sorry, this seat's taken. As Paul moved away, I put my backpack on the seat and put on my earphones. I wasn't letting anyone ruin the trip for me. Later that evening, everyone gathered around to play Truth or Dare. After a few turns, the spinning bottle landed on Paul, and his friends dared him to kiss me. As we crawled towards each other and our faces came close, my heart was pounding. And when our lips touched, I felt fuzzy. I was completely lost in the moment till someone shouted,
You guys trying to set some record for the world's longest kiss? Get a room or a tent.
As I went back to my spot, I could feel Brittany's death glare on me, but I couldn't care less. Later that night, I suddenly woke up to see a weird shadow on my tent. I got up to peek outside, but someone pushed me back and we both fell onto the sleeping bag. Paul, what are you doing here?
Just listen to me, okay? I'm really sorry. I do know what Brittany can be like. Also, I can't stop thinking about you since the first time we met.
Suddenly, we heard our teachers' voices close by. We'll be in so much trouble if we get caught.
Come with me. I have a better place in mind.
We sneaked away from the campsite till we got to an old cabin. Once the door closed behind us, Paul pulled me towards him in the dark and started kissing me. Suddenly, I stepped on something soft, and someone screamed. Paul and I yelled too and fell back in fright. Someone flashed a light in our eyes, and we saw that it was Brittany. Another girl was there too, holding her hand and hopping around in pain. You stupid cow! You stepped on my girlfriend's beautiful hand. How was I supposed to know anyone was here?
Wait a second. Brittany, you have a girlfriend?
Yeah? Is there a problem?
Remember how you're engaged to Dad's friend's son?
So, he's seeing other people too. It's cool. We'll still get married one day. Wow, this girl was weirder than I'd thought. I made my way to the door, but to my horror, it just wouldn't open. We tried to pull it all together, but it seemed really stuck. And Brittany went off on me. Why did you ever close the door, moron? Don't you know the first rule of making out in weird places? Never close the door.
Hey, don't talk to my girlfriend that way.
Girlfriend?
Girlfriend? I thought you were just having fun with her.
No, brother. This can't happen. Break up with her now. What are you, crazy? You can't tell him what to do. And with that, I grabbed Paul and started kissing him, but to my shock, he gently pushed me aside. Good boy. Are you freaking kidding me, Paul? You're gonna listen to this psycho? He just stood there silently. I was so mad. I pushed him aside and sat down in the farthest corner. Once I was out of here, I was gonna change schools. There was nothing we could do till someone came looking for us. Brittany laid out a sack and she and her girlfriend cuddled on it together. I sat in my corner feeling cold and grossed out by their kissing noises. But at some point, I drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, I woke up to find a warm pair of arms around me. Paul, I swear I'm gonna punch you.
Shh, keep it down. You'll wake them up.
Why are you so afraid of your sister?
I promise. I'll explain everything once we're out of here. Just be quiet right now and let me kiss you.
I felt myself sinking in his arms, but moments later, I yelled out in pain when a flying shoe hit me on the head. Brittany was staring down at the two of us, looking completely manic. I told you to break it up, Paul. Have you forgotten that I know your biggest secret and I own your butt? That's it. I want to know what she's talking about, Paul. What is she holding over you? Paul suddenly looked like he was near tears.
Ginny, our mom left us years ago, but I found out recently that she cheated on our dad around the time I was born, which basically means he isn't my dad. And I'm afraid if Dad finds out, he won't want me anymore.
Oh, I know he won't. He'll send you packing to your good-for-nothing real dad. I was stunned, and then really mad. So, your brother told you the secret, and you're using it against him? You're a psychopath, Brittany, and you should be in a mental hospital. Brittany snarled and attacked me. As we wrestled on the floor, we suddenly heard the door fling open. It was our teachers and everyone else from camp. We were all given detention for a month. On the bus ride home, I sat next to Paul and slipped my hand through his. I think you should just tell your dad. The truth will be a shock for him, but I'm sure he won't stop loving you. You don't have to live in fear. Paul smiled at me and nodded. And later that day, we went to his house together. I was waiting anxiously in the lounge while he was talking to his dad. Just then, Brittany walked in. Ugh, do I have to see your face at my house too? Well, I guess once Paul is out of here, I won't. Suddenly, the door opened, and Paul and his dad walked in with their arms around each other. Paul hugged me and said everything was good. And I was so relieved. But then, their dad turned angrily to Brittany.
Paul told me how badly you've been behaving, and I'm taking away all your privileges. You're grounded for a long time.
Brittany screamed and stormed off furiously. When I finally got home, I could hear my parents shouting all the way outside, and I decided that it was time to fix my own family's mess too. Mom? Dad? Shut up! I can't take this anymore. You two are getting a divorce, or I swear to God, I'm putting myself up for adoption. For once, I actually got through to my crazy parents, and they did file for a divorce. I also found out that Brittany's rich boyfriend dumped her because he didn't know she was cheating on him, and her dad sent her to a very strict boarding school. Paul and I have been dating for a couple of months, and now we're headed off to my parents' divorce party, and no one is happier than me. Hi, my name is Leah, and everyone says I do crazy things without thinking them through. My parents thought it was just a childhood thing and that I'd grow out of it, but things actually got crazier and almost cost me my life. Once when I was 5 years old, I woke up startled in the middle of the night. I definitely heard some noise downstairs. I jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to find a robber in the study. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a big frying pan, and sneaked up on the robber. The minute he turned around, I hit him smack in the face and he dropped to the floor. Seconds later, my parents came running at the noise and called the police. I thought they'd praise me for being a hero, but instead, they lost it with me.
Why did you even go down alone? Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? What were you thinking, Leah?
To be honest, I wasn't thinking. My brain just told me to do it, so I did it. See, crazy enough? Not only that, I also feel rather ugly. I wasn't as pretty as my older sister Amy, who mocked me for being a gingerhead all the time. So one day in the 2nd grade, I decided to do something to look pretty like my sister. I slapped some pink wall paint onto my hair and sprinkled glitter on it. I thought I looked uber cool, but the principal didn't seem to agree, and I got grounded for the 700th time at home. I tried my best to feel bad, but just then, I spotted the cutest cat limping on the street. Oh no, what if a car hit her? Without another thought, I was out the window. Just as I picked up the poor kitty, I stared in horror at a bus racing down the road straight towards me. It sharply swerved and crashed into a tree on the side. Just then, a car drove straight into the bus, and before I knew it, there was a 10-car pileup. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand and yelled, "Run!" We both dashed away and hid behind some bushes. When I caught my breath, I saw a ginger-haired boy my age smiling at me. "Wow, you saved that cat's life. You're a hero. Also, your hair is really cool." And that's the day this boy River became my best friend. He moved into the neighborhood recently, and we became inseparable. Amy was one of the popular girls in school, and she and her friends were always bullying me and River. She wasn't that smart, so she often made me do her homework. One time in the 8th grade, I said I was too busy, and the next day she stole my cat. As River and I marched furiously up to her, we found her making fun of poor Lulu with her minions. "Look, Lulu, Mommy and Daddy are here. Why don't you two get married already and have 100 more ginger cats? It would definitely be an ugly family of losers."
Oh yeah? Maybe we will. And we won't be inviting you to the wedding.
Ew, River, we're not getting married, ever. Now give me back my cat, Amy. I'll do your stupid homework. And she did, and I did, but I did it all wrong. When we moved to the 9th grade, another drama was added to my life. We got a literature teacher who was an absolute terror. She always brought along a long, thin stick and hit it on our desks randomly. And one fateful day, she turned her wrath to me.
You, open your book to page 4, read the first sentence, and tell me what you think.
Anna opened her lunchbox and ate her chicken nuggets. That means some girl Anna opened her lunchbox and ate some chicken nuggets?
I have 2 words for you. Nah-ah. The lunchbox represents the working class, chicken represents weakness, and a nugget means small. So it means Anna is a small, poor coward. Buy a brain, please.
What? When the lunch bell finally rang, we all got up to run out, but the teacher smacked her stick on her desk and screamed,
I am the bell, and no one leaves until I say so.
Suddenly, I snapped, and without thinking, I snatched her stick. Everyone gasped and held their breath. And then I broke the stick in 2 over my knee. No one messes with a hungry girl. Of course, I was sent to the principal right away and given detention for a month. But when I went back to class, I got a hero's welcome. All hail Leah, the new school queen! River picked me up and twirled me around. Then he looked into my eyes and said,
Leah, you're amazing. You've always been the coolest girl I've ever known.
And with that, he suddenly kissed me. My head was spinning with shock as everyone around us cheered. What just happened? I didn't have the heart to reject him in front of everyone, so I just kissed him back and smiled. Gosh, I never knew he liked me. That night, he left me a box of chocolates and flowers outside my window with a note. I'm so glad you feel the same way. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. This was a nightmare. By the next day, word had spread, and I was suddenly experiencing something new to me, popularity. I had people high-fiving me in the corridors, and boys were smiling at me. But there was one boy in particular who sent my heart fluttering. No, not River, Dylan. He was the captain of the baseball team, and I could see Amy turning all shades of green as he joined me at my lunch table.
Hey, I heard what you did, and that was really cool. I was wondering, would you like to go to the spring dance with me?
Would I? Without thinking twice, I said yes. As he walked away, I spotted River, and my heart suddenly sank. OMG, how was I going to tell him I had a date with someone else? Just as I was leaving the cafeteria, Amy suddenly shoved me, a little too hard this time. I wasn't able to stop myself from falling and landing on the ground, hitting my head, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself in a hospital bed.
Hello, Leah. You fell down and hit your head. Tell me if you remember what happened before that.
I remembered everything, that which Amy was going to pay. And oh God, I still had to break my best friend's heart. But then, the world's best idea hit me. It was like the universe had sent me an opportunity, and I was going to take it. Without another thought, I said, I don't remember anything. After asking me more questions, the doctor diagnosed me with anterograde amnesia. I pretended I couldn't remember anything, except my early childhood. River was devastated that I didn't remember him. He kept visiting me and trying to jog my memory.
Don't you remember the first time we met? You saved the cat and named her Lulu?
I named her Lulu? That's an incredibly stupid name. River, I'm sorry, but I just don't remember you.
It's okay. I'll keep waiting till you do.
No, I won't remember you. I mean, I don't think so. Ow! My head hurts. I went to the spring dance with Dylan and had the most amazing evening with him. When he dropped me home, I could see Amy spying on us from her window. On impulse, I pulled Dylan close and kissed him. He kissed me back. And honestly, this kiss felt just right. Also, it made Amy super mad, so life was kinda perfect. Except that it wasn't perfect. You see, it broke my heart to see River look so sad whenever I saw him, and I really missed my best friend. I didn't know how to fix this mess I'd made, but that situation took care of itself soon enough. One evening, when I was getting ready for a date with Dylan, Amy suddenly barged into my room and slapped pink paint onto my head. What are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you liked pink paint on your hair. I was 8 years old, you psycho! Just then, I turned around to see River standing in the door.
So you do remember that day. Amy was right. You remember everything. Why would you lie, Leah?
The act was up, and I broke down. Because I don't love you the way you love me, River. You're my best friend, and I couldn't bear to break your heart. River just stared at me in shock, then turned away abruptly and left. He completely ignored me at school and wouldn't respond to any texts, and I felt like I'd lost my best friend forever. But a few weeks later, he came to my house and said he forgave me.
I can't be mad at you for not feeling the same way. And I respect your wishes. So, can we just start over and be friends?
And I gave him the world's tightest bear hug in return. We remained best friends through high school, and even though we parted ways for university, we always stayed in touch. He found an amazing girlfriend, and I was so happy for him. I dated Dylan all through university and graduated with honors. So, studying engineering was the worst decision of my life. Joking, not joking. And the best thing that happened to me in this college is that I'm about to leave it. I would also like to thank YouTube and Google for helping me throughout my studies. And also, of course, my wonderful boyfriend Dylan, who God knows what he's doing right now, but he's coming to me, and now he's on his knees. Wait, what? To my shock, Dylan was holding a ring.
Will you marry me, crazy girl?
Of course, I said yes. And a month later at our wedding, River was my best man. A year later, I was blessed with a beautiful baby girl, Lisa. When it was time to go back to work after my maternity leave, I couldn't bear to leave her behind. So without another thought, I just sent in my resignation letter and quit. Dylan asked me if I was sure about my decision, and I said, "Of course, I'm totally ready to be a stay-at-home mom and cuddle with this patootie all day." But it turns out, being with a baby all the time can get really exhausting and sometimes just boring. One day when Lisa was 2, I was busy writing on my laptop when I looked up to see her eating my popsicle. How had she found my secret stash in the freezer? I jumped up and grabbed it from her. That's mine. But when I saw her little baby lips quiver and her eyes well up, I sighed. Fine, you can have it. Watching her turn instantly happy made me really happy. And I thought to myself, wow, this motherhood business really changes you. But I didn't realize how much I'd changed until a year later when Lisa fell really ill. After running all sorts of tests, it turned out that she needed a kidney transplant. And I was a perfect match. And I didn't even have to think about it for a second. Maybe you should try to find another donor first. Life with one kidney can be difficult sometimes. No one can be a better match for her than me. And I don't even have to think about this twice. We both underwent the surgery, and even though it took me a lot of time to recover, I never regretted my decision when I saw my happy, healthy baby playing around. Being a mother has taught me to put someone else above me, and making sacrifices without giving it much thought.